My conscience hath 1,000 several tongues, and every tongue brings in a several tale, and every tale condemns me for a villain. It is that thing we do not talk about, that in the deepest corner, in the recesses of our mind and our soul and our being, comes forth within our own passion to tell story. For there is no good without evil. It's the darkness that is the most fascinating aspect of what we do. It has the most depth. It has the most reach. It incorporates the most forethought. So here, this season on 21 Grams, we examine the part of the soul that we often try to bury or not talk about. They say that 21 grams is the weight of the soul. But what is the weight of sitting in darkness? This is what we aim to discover this season. Welcome to 21 Grams with your host, Joe Compton. Hello, everybody. Yes, we're back. Welcome to 21 Grams, another year, continuing on with our sixth season theme. And I'm real excited because when I was putting this together and thinking about who I wanted to have come on, I reached out to Amy like almost immediately, and I'm so glad that she's here and she's going to talk to us today. Everybody meet Amy Rutledge. Amy, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Joe, so much for having me on. It's such an honor. I am an actor. I am now moving into more screenwriting. I am a ceramic artist and a painter, and I teach meditation and guide sound baths.
Nice. And we'll get into that because that's really interesting in terms of this topic. I was curious, have you ever played a villain on screen?
Yeah, I have. Oh, yeah, I've done a lot of short films, I want to say, where I was the villain.
Okay.
The unassuming villain, or perhaps, the final girl, but the villain.
Gosh, or the one we don't know is the villain until the end, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's very fun.
Yeah, that's the interesting juxtaposition, right? Knowing who you are, you're so affable. You're such a beautiful soul in the way you conduct yourself as a person, and then here you are having to delve into these darker corners and even I would even imagine more so if you're doing one where you're not supposed to reveal you're the villain until the very end kind of idea too, which is also something fascinating we can talk about. But talk a little bit about the process for you and how it's kind of evolved for you in terms of building these characters and getting to that place.
Wow. I think now that I'm older and then I've gone through a lot of like my own mental health issues and my own grief and my own suffering in so many ways, as we all do as human beings, it's really about kind of tending to like myself, my own being, and making sure that's kind of like my number one priority. Because I know in the past, for sure, it was kind of like the tortured artist, like you need to suffer in order to like do a good job. And It just wasn't sustainable at all. As you could probably imagine. I would just leave sets or leave even plays that I was on, and just for the whole entire day, just feeling just so numb and disassociating and just like feeling horrible and not really knowing how to shake it. So now I do get a little nervous, I think, when I'm doing like working on even just as the villain, but like working on darker material. I feel like I was looking at my IMDb just to like refresh my memory, and it's like I swear 95% of the things I've done are all very dark, whether or not I'm the villain or not.
You're right.
Or I'm fighting for my life, or so.
Yeah.
I always get like a little nervous, I will admit, because I'm like, oh gosh, here we go, but I think teaching meditation and learning about all these different like self-regulation techniques, ways that I can calm my nervous system or signal safety back down to my body, have been so incredibly helpful for me that now it also kind of gives me the confidence, more so that I have when I was younger, to be able to sort of tackle these roles or this, you know, the material. Because before I was like, oh no, like this is gonna hurt, you know, and now I'm like, okay, this might hurt a little bit, but I know how to bring myself back again. And I think that's so important as an artist and as an actor.
Sure. I would imagine too, doing regulating breathing and things like that, that your body recognizes when you're in stress too, and tries to give you some, because that happens to me. Like when I'm overwhelmed and stressed, I know that it's time to meditate. It's time to get out of my body a little bit and kind of just let my spirit kind of cleanse itself in a lot of respects, or even my body will shut down completely, and I'll be asleep for 4 hours, which I don't like. I don't like to sleep at all. So so my body will shut me down just to do it. Are you finding that as you get older too, that your body, and because you're going through these meditative practices, that it'll be like an automated device in a lot of respects?
To like have a nervous system, like
Yeah.
absolutely. I think we all do in some sense. I'm just a little bit more aware of it because of all the work of all the therapy that I've done and all. I have PTSD, so I find, and I've struggled a lot from that throughout my whole life, and I've done a lot of work, and I've had a lot of help. And I noticed kind of like where my kind of natural state, like my resting state, is like stuck in the fight or flight, and it's exhausting. So it was almost like critical for my survival as a human being to learn these self-regulating somatic, even breath work. I actually became a breathwork instructor because I just tried all of it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This could literally save lives, as it has my own. And so yeah. And I find when I'm not doing those, absolutely, I shut down. Like there's only so much, time for me, at least. I can only speak for myself, where I'm in like the fight or flight before I'm just like, that's it. I'm disassociating. I have like derealization, and that's not good. So I really have to make sure I'm maintaining that every single day, which is also exhausting in of itself too. But I have to do it. And I just show up, and I'm learning a lot about self-compassion, and, kind of all the practice are kind of like all the things I teach, all the things I've learned are all kind of just like molding in together now. And then, and I can really help myself out of it when I need to.
Does being on an independent film set elevate that stress a little bit because you only have so much time to do certain things?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can't really recall a time.
Your process, no matter how you perform.
Yeah, and almost like it makes it even more exciting. And like maybe the anxiety is there, but also kind of try to reframe it as excitement. And it's like, if you get like 3 takes, I kind of feel like that's all you need sometimes, because the more you go on, and it just gets like tired, and it gets, it just gets like, I don't know, it's like too much. Like even when I'm doing my self tapes, like I really only gave myself three tries, and that's it, Yeah. And especially if you're doing a scene that's like really emotional, to only have to do it like 3 times is actually amazing. So I think it's actually a really great gift, to be honest. Yeah.
Acting is such a weird. It's such a weird reward system, because there's really 3 stages, right? The preparation for the scene that you're going to shoot, or even taking the time to prep for the character, and then the scenes you're shooting at the time you're shooting it, like you were talking about with takes and things of that nature, and then seeing it on the screen afterwards. Which phase for you have you felt like you're the best at?
Probably on set. That's a really great question. Yeah, it's so thoughtful. On set, I think with the preparation, sometimes a little bit all over the place, and I kind of have so many tools, and I've went to so many different teachers and classes and different techniques that I sometimes, when I get a role, I almost feel a little bit overwhelmed. And so I take a few days where I just procrastinate, because my nervous system is like, like all the alarms are going off, and I'm like, I can't do this, But then I have to talk myself into it, and like do all my tools, and then I prep. But then I feel like then I have so much confidence in myself when I'm on set, and it's like all the people are there and it's so exciting, and like everyone's like excited. It's like magic happens, and it's kind of just like I know this is like so cheesy and like everyone says this, but you literally like throw the work away and something just takes over, and that is like the best feeling in the entire world. So
yeah,
and
as someone who's directed actors and been in front of the camera, which I don't love. I don't like being in front of the camera. But being behind the camera and watching that happen, it's like you can rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. It's also the reason why I shoot rehearsals too, because I think that's important. Kind of it's like game day tape almost in a lot of respects for that as well. But I feel like until you're there and you're doing it, at that moment, you just know that you've got it right. You nailed it right, and it's there's nothing like it in the world when that feeling happens.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, that just brought tears to my eyes. It's just like a really special experience, and I'm just grateful that to be able to have that, when I do.
My colleague here, he's a co-host on one of my other shows, and I make him do voiceovers for the intros. So he says if I could get my voiceover taken 3 takes, that would be great. Who's here, and then we have Anita here too. Hello, Anita. Nice to see you.
Hi.
But yeah, I mean, so is the onset process different for you? Are you more like there's a I hate to do a sports analogy on a a talk show about art, but
I mean, it's so similar. It could be in so many ways.
But there's a moment in a pitcher when a pitcher is on the mound and they know they have a perfect game, and everybody stays away from them, right? They or when they're having a bad game, they all converge on them and try to console them and comfort them. Do you feel like that's when you're playing a darker character? Do you feel like that's what you need, like some isolation, or do you feel like you need some insulation? Where do you stand and how that goes prior to like hearing action?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a really great. It's a balance that I'm learning more and more about. It's really like I kind of just have to feel what my body needs. I think in the last couple films I did, they were both pretty heavy, grief, about mental health issues, self-harm. They were really dark and heavy. And I know for both of those, as soon as we were done, I had to just go outside and take a walk and be alone. And I had to like let my body kind of just like recalibrate and shake it off, get the sun, listen to the birds. And then after that, then I would come home, and then, I need a hug from my partner. And then I think something comfort for me too is always like food. So like I would eat like my favorite food, and then, so it's kind of like a balance of weaving in. And I think because of all the work I've done, I'm getting a better understanding of that. Like luckily, because when I was younger, like I was not able to like really shake things, and it caused a lot of suffering and a lot of problems. So yeah.
Are you at a point in your career where, I mean, you're starting to write for yourself a little bit more, that's the point of the career that a lot of actors get to, because they're not getting the roles that they feel like they want, or getting offers that. But are you at a point in your career where you're making choices, or are you still trying to say yes to pretty much everything you're doing?
I'm trying to think. I feel like I try to say yes to most of the things that I'm offered, regardless of pay, regardless of, any of that, because for me, it's become just so valuable to just be on set, and you just never know who you're going to meet. I met so many incredible people. Even on films, I was like, oh, it's not like the most exciting thing, but then it ends up being the most exciting thing, which is funny. So I see, or like I've done some projects where I'm like, like it's kind of like not, I really like sci-fi, and I really like horror, and I really like, that kind of thing, and like post-apocalyptic, like that's kind of like my jam. I love those kinds of movies. And but when I get a role or an offer where I'm like, okay, let's just say yes. It's funny because those end up being like the ones that go to like all the film festivals, and I met so many incredible people. And so I just try to be really open about what is offered and see all of it as a gift. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting too, because I also think that actors do themselves a disservice sometimes by saying no in a lot of respects, because you never know what could hit or not hit, number one. But number two, I think there's always a learning experience even on bad sets, right? That you can glean to, and then you understand. You get to a point where you almost have to say no, because it's a waste of your time to do it otherwise. But I do feel like there is a sweet spot where you can explore a little bit more. You have a little bit more freedom if you're doing that as a craft and figuring it out, because you can get all of the experiences from one set, or have an opportunity to do something you didn't do before.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think there's so many times where I've done like the smallest little project, and that has led to so many more projects like later down the line. So
yeah, that's the other thing you learn, that you want to work with other people that are on the set with you, right? Too, you gain a relationship, and then you start doing more stuff with that person.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's amazing. Like, there was, I think at one point in time where I was just like being very precious about like, I think there's also a fine line of like, yeah, like knowing your worth and like knowing like what you're going to do and what you're not.
Right.
But also like, even on the sets that like aren't so great, it's like you still are learning, because then you learn your boundaries. You can see red flags from a mile away. You know what you're willing to accept and not, in terms of being, treated with like respect and dignity. And so like, you're always learning, like no matter what. Yeah.
What are you writing for yourself right now? What are you interested in trying to put out into the world?
Oh gosh, I have a couple ideas that I'm just starting working on. So this is like very, very, very fresh and new. No, not at all. Thank you. Yeah, one's like a dystopian sort of world. Kind of
the things
like,
you love that you were just talking
exactly.
about.
Yeah. Sci-fi, body horror, and kind of weaving in a lot of like my own experience with my own mental health issues and actual like physical health issues, and medical gaslighting, and so there's a couple different things that I kind of have that I'm working on. So yeah.
You and I got to know each other a bit from with a mutual friend of ours in Mr. Brian Landis Fokins, who I adore and have known for forever.
Oh.
And you worked on a film with him called Rent-A-Pal, and Will Wheaton as well. And one thing that struck me, getting to know you over the last this time period, is how different you are from your character in that movie. It's very interesting. Do you look for things that you kind of will challenge you as a person more so than something that maybe people wouldn't recognize you as?
Yeah.
Feel like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny you find that I'm different from Lisa, because I feel like I've heard the opposite, that people are like, that people are like, oh my God, you're exactly like her, so that's interesting.
I mean, I guess because I don't know you that well, but I just know how you have the luxury of doing meditation and sound healing and things of that nature. And that usually strikes me as someone who's a little bit more in tune with themselves metaphysically. Lisa seems very all over the place, not sure about anything in life, right?
Yeah. She's a little naive, I guess, and just like very hopeful, and to a fault. And I think I have that in me too. We all have these different parts. Like we have like one of my favorite teachers. Bob Verlack, he's an awesome actor too, and an amazing director, but he would always say in our classes that people are different people in rooms with different people.
And I've heard that before. That's cool.
I love that. Yeah. And I love exploring like the little kind of dark corners that we all have inside of us that maybe sometimes we don't want to look at, or we suppress, or we push away because, you know, it's disturbing, or, you know, for whatever reason. But I find it's like now as I get older, I'm finding it more fascinating to explore like those dark parts of me that have like the rage that can be cruel, you know, that not that I am, but like there's parts of the mind that like we can explore where like we all have that in us, and the grief, and I think finding these characters that where I get to really completely change myself is probably the best, is exactly what I feel like I want for my career. Like I want to be like unrecognizable, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I think one of there was a film critic that said on air about me. I like watched the video after, but she's like, I am just so blown away by how unrecognizable, how completely different she is. I guess someone else has said this, so I take that back. That how completely like she threw herself into this character of Lisa, and she's like doesn't even look the same. Like, you know, and that's not the exact wording. The wording was way more graceful. Right. But that was to me like the best compliment I've ever received, because that's what I want. And I do want to find these characters where I get to explore, you know, those different little dark corners of my own mind, if that makes sense.
Sure, no, it does. Totally. I with Lisa especially too, I think that there's a moment when I don't want to spoil it for her, but there's a moment she has to make a really big decision, and but putting somebody in a corner like that is kind of an interesting exercise too. Do you like characters that have a dilemma but have a solution toward the end too, or are you okay with playing more of a, even if the character was to, let's put it this way, if the character was a character that we wouldn't recognize you as, right? You would get lost in that character. Even though they don't have the most sparkling of scenes where they're doing something to save the world or whatever, right? It's more nonchalant, mundane, everyday stuff. Like you're in a Woody Allen film all of a sudden, and you're the guy at the counter, or you're the gal at the counter, you know, talking to Woody, right? Kind of thing, right? That kind of idea. Would you tackle that the same? Do you feel like the ones that challenge you the most are the ones that you get the most out of?
You know what's funny? It's like I find like kind of going to the dark parts or grief or rage for me are so easy that when I get an audition for like a TV show where it's like a 1 or 2 liner, I'm like, oh my God, like I have no idea like what to do. Like I really, it's very hard, and it really is. And I don't know why.
Are making me thirsty, right?
Exactly. It's so true. Like I resonate with that so much of that Seinfeld episode. It's so true. So it's, you know, I think because I've had so much of my own like dark things that I've experienced, so it's very easy for me to access that. I always say like, luckily but unluckily, you know, like I've had this life experience that's, you know, but it's I've been able to use it to help me for good, and for art and for my work, and so that's like the greatest blessing, you know. But then when I have to do kind of just like the, you know, come in and out person at the counter, I'm like, I don't know what to do like with myself. It's really weird.
Are you more of yourself in those moments, you think?
Like with the rage and the
with the one-liners. Do you feel like you just kind of you're like, less than yourself?
I feel like I'm an alien. Like I just feel like I'm out of body. Like I don't know.
I get it.
It's hard.
I'm wondering too, like, what's the difference? I mean, the interesting juxtaposition, right, is that you also do plays, and you know, as an actor, and I know you've done quite a few of those as well. And so, what is the difference for you with the darker parts? Because I would imagine you have to carry those because you have to do that performance over and over again a lot more than you would on a set. Is there something different about how you approach that because it's a stage versus a screen?
Oof. Yeah, it's harder. It's more painful. And, I will say I haven't done a play in a few years now.
Mhm.
That I was doing them more when I was back living in New York City. Now
Sure.
I'm in LA.
The
But
Mecca plays, obviously, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure there's great theater in LA too. I just haven't like really, auditioned for it. But there was a couple where I had to be on stage, and again, very dark, very heavy, especially for my character, very intense. Where I was on this, I feel like in both of these plays, they were full length, and I think I was on stage the entire time as well. So it's not
Yeah.
even like I had a chance to go back and like
Oh, man.
just like take a breath. It was
Yeah.
like on stage the whole time and holding on to that. And then I think at that time was kind of at the beginning of sort of like the meditation and like learning self-regulation. So I don't think I did a very good job of taking care of myself as I would have
Mm.
now. So yeah, I mean, now I think I would be so much better, well equipped to be able to do it, but I would be nervous going into it.
I mean, is it for you? Is rehearsal time a special moment for you? Do you feel like that's an important part of the process for you?
I like rehearsal. Yeah. I like my own to do my own work privately, and then I like
Mhm.
to, um, well, for plays for sure,
Mhm. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, you have to rehearse, right?
And then for film, I feel like there was only a couple films where we kind of had like a little like Zoom rehearsal, or at least like a talk through, or like like a reading, which I find is so helpful because then you're like, getting to get a sense of like the director and like the other actors and form this connection. And then when you're on set, it's just like, ooh, like the magic kind of flies.
Yeah.
I think on Rent a Pal, I don't know if we had rehearsal, but we had a few moments like to kind of run through a little bit like before the camera started. And I always appreciate anything you get is a gift, I think. Yeah. I think like over rehearsing is also then when it's like, okay, that's a little too much, which I haven't really run into in my life career yet so far. So I think I've gotten the sweet spots of it all.
Were you were you happy with your stage career? Did you enjoy the stage, or is it just something you just you're really focused on screen right now, so you're not worried, you're not really looking at that?
I really miss it actually,
Yeah.
and more recently. So it's interesting you asked me this. I do miss that. It's they're both different. They're both special. They're both magical in their own separate ways, and but being on stage, I mean, that's like, oh, that energy you feel is like insane. Like it's just, and it's even more. I don't want to use the word anxiety, but like that excitement that you feel that just like feeds into all of it. Um, it's magic. Yeah.
Is there a lot of that too when you're going on going for a series? I know you only shoot the pilot typically with the series aspect of it, but
Yeah.
but if it does get picked up, you're going to be playing this character. So is that kind of the same idea for you would that be as close to getting on stage, you think, as being on screen?
Good question. I would think so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't had that that experience yet. But calling that in, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
What do you think about when you see another actor go to a dark place, right, on a set, or especially on a set, when you've seen that experience, like you got to see Brian really go to a dark place. Uh, I'm curious what you glean from that in your perspective, and what you bring to what that does for you as an actor, but also as a person. Are you kind of is there something where you go, am I doing the right thing all of a sudden kind of idea, or is it more of, you know, interesting, I know that person, so I can disconnect them from what they're doing right now.
Mm. Well, watching Brian was like the greatest gift, first of all, because he's incredible.
He is.
And it's just inspiring, and it kind of makes you level up. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I got to bring it. So I think like, and especially with him, and I think I want to say, I feel like he was also doing a play at the same time he was doing this.
There's no doubt about it.
And I was just like,
guarantee that. I don't know for a fact, but I can almost guarantee that. I mean, him and the Denver Theater Society are like interlocked. So
and so that to me was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And like, we really didn't know each other too well. And I mean, we really just, I think we had like, maybe we went out to dinner, I want to say like before we started filming. Maybe I want to say, did we talk on the phone or have a very short Zoom before I even got out to Colorado? I think maybe. And then he's just such a great person, and he's funny. And so I felt really comfortable with him. But watching him work and also, like, you know, I really wasn't there on set for that many days, actually.
Sure.
So I didn't get to see the full, you know,
transformation.
Yeah, which when I got to watch it then in the theater, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. He's a master, truly. And being able to watch him and work with him, you know, just made me, I don't kind of gave me the permission to kind of just like let loose and like, you know, I think there, to be honest though, and there was one scene, I don't want to give it away, where there was like a kind of a physical thing between us.
Yeah.
And I saw how like good he was and how scary he was, that I was scared to do this scene with him. Like I truly, I was like, am I going to get hurt? Like, does he know how to like, you know, cause some actors you just don't know, like with like method act, or I don't, you know, with actors, you know, I've been on set where people just get scary and they kind of just don't know their own strength and they don't know when to like pull back. And so I had that moment, was like, oh my God. Like, and I actually pulled the director aside just because I wanted to express, I just wanted to get it out there. Like, I just wanted to say like, hey, he's so good. And he's so good that I'm actually scared. And so I took John Stevenson aside, and I was like, hey, like, I just wanted to kind of like, just let you know, like, kind of where I am right now. And then like, I just had a moment of trust, like instantly. I was like, no, I'm like, you know what? I'm safe. Everything's fine. Like, he's a professional. Brian is a professional. Everyone's a professional. And I was like, you know what, John, never mind. I'm not even going to say it, because I didn't want to even like speak it out loud. And we went up and we did the scene and like we rocked it. So I don't know if I answered your question. That was a very long-winded answer, but
you got the gist of it. It's interesting too, because like there's so much more I want to explore with you, but I don't want to give too much away of your process because that's important for you. But you know, when you're doing like the meditation aspect of your life and those things, and you're engaging with people, are you more self-aware of where that person's energy is because of your acting? Do you feel like that's your acting has kind of helped your other part of your life a little bit?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And having like empathy and compassion for people. Yeah. Gosh, I wish I could even just like think about this more and just really have some like examples, but I can't right now. But for sure. Like, you know, I think as an artist, as an actor, it's like, I think I was already going into like my acting career being very extremely sensitive, maybe, you know, even like, I don't want to say too much so, but like to the point where like, it's like you feel so much and sometimes it can be really painful. And then it's also a trauma response too, as I've actually come to understand. Having PTSD, it's just being like very, very, very over aware of like people, and like then your mind kind of goes, because it's like playing out these scenarios, you know, your brain's trying to keep you safe, and it's like that's danger, that's, you know. So I think they both go hand in hand. I think with the acting and then like the meditation, they've helped me in both ways equally, with my acting career and also in real life too, as a human being. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're better suited to play the darker characters right now, not just because of your experience, but because you're so connected to that other side of the spirit?
Yeah, I think so. And I think I'm ready to as well because I see where I've held on to so much grief
Mm-hmm.
and so much rage. And it's like not something you can't really express that in real life all the time. You know what I mean? So like being able to explore that in a safe environment on stage or on the screen feels deeply healing.
Are you are you are you someone who would prefer to do those moments alone, or do you feel like having a partner such as like a Brian or somebody that has the experience or is there helps you get there faster?
I think for sure having someone there to like their because you're feeding off like their energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel his energy and yeah, yeah, I've definitely
So it's a lot harder for you when you're alone and have to just basically face the camera.
let's see. I feel like I mean it's always better to have someone like like bounce off like the energy and like
Sure.
the words and all of that. But I think I've also because there's times where you have to literally like you're acting out the scene and
Yeah.
whatever for reason the camera has to be in a certain way and the actor can't be in front of you literally like someone's reading lines like 10 feet away on the other side of the room and you're so that's also like a skill that I've had to learn
Yeah.
where I feel like I've
Or hitting the mark.
yeah. But it's there's nothing better than acting along like off of another actor, especially
Mhm.
someone like Brian who's just like insanely awesome.
Do you is there is there a deeper connection too? You just feel like when there's somebody else in the room, like do you feel like the darkness becomes a little bit more? I don't want to say palatable or acceptable, but more like you're able to get more into it, right? You just
Yeah.
feel like your best performances come from that energy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I feel like a lot of quite a few of the things I've done is like I'm sort of getting back at an awful person. So that their performance is like what's fueling me to retaliate, I guess, and express the rage or like the injustice or whatever it is that's happening in the film. It's like it's easier.
I'm curious from your perspective. You've been in LA for a bit now, and been doing this for a while, and you're getting older. Uh, how is it for an older female actor out there? Do you feel like it's getting better? Do you feel like there's more roles? Do you feel like there's less roles? Do you feel like because I'm sure you've heard all the horror stories from the early days of Hollywood about the way females were not allowed to age, they were not allowed to do certain things, and it seems like that's changing a little bit. But from your actual perspective, being there, how do you feel about that aspect of it?
I love it. I am so excited about the opportunities and the auditions that I'm getting now.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like, oh wow, like I'm so ready to explore this like new chapter and like what it's as you get older too, you have more life experience. You've
Sure.
gone through more things. You're able to use that then for your performances. Um, I feel like I've gotten more auditions this past year than like ever in my whole life. Like I think this year, like I mean, we're only on the 12th, and I think I've had like 10 or 12 auditions already.
Wow.
Yeah, um, and they're all exciting, and they have more depth. I feel like, for me at least, this is how I
Mhm.
feel like there's more range, and there's more ways where I can express myself, and they're more exciting. So it makes it feel more exciting for me instead of the latter, which I do understand what you're talking about because I definitely very much grew up seeing that too. Like
Mhm.
I grew up in the Baywatch. I grew up you had to be blonde. You had to be young. You had to look hot. You had like all the things. So I'm very happy that I'm able to now like kind of on the other end of it now, where I'm like, I think majority of my auditions, I embrace not wearing any makeup, and I embrace like all the wrinkles in my face, and I'm embracing like, I don't know, just the things that I get to do and express, and that feels so exciting. And I'm very excited to see, you know, what's next, what comes out of that.
Yeah, I think of a character like Lisa, and that would be either there's two reasons for a female actor back in the day to do a character like Lisa. One is because that's not them, and they can lose themselves, and then all of a sudden, you know, all the award accolades come with losing yourself a lot of times, right? So an actor might look at that and go, "Oh, I'm doing that part because I'm not that person, and I'm going to get kudos for not being that person," right? Or the other reason being is you're not getting anything, and you got to do something, right? But it seems like a part like that just came to you, and you earned it. You auditioned for it, or however it happened for you, and you know, and I believe when I talked to John about it, he was like, "Oh yeah, I knew the moment that she walked in the room, she was Lisa." So you know, I'm curious with those kind of parts, you know, what you're thinking about, because that's not your mindset. So is it just that you could just go further and further with a character like that, and you don't have to worry about all the you know, accoutrement that goes with being a female actor in that respect? Or is it, I can add something, you know, feminine to this and make it my own kind of idea?
Sorry, will you repeat the question?
Do you feel like doing a character like Lisa, where you can lose yourself and not be the person that you are, or you know, whatever, but just a total transformation of who you are, physically, mentally, all of that, right? Do you feel like a character like that, you can? It's not about what you're thinking about. This character is going to reward you with. It's more of what you're trying to do, challenging yourself as an actor.
I see. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for saying that again. Yeah, it's always, I think about the challenge. I think it's always about like, you know, like seeing that character and like being really, it's a feeling really. I think like when I get an offer or like there's an audition, it's like there's an excitement, and there's like kind of not, it's not something you can even really put into words, if you know what I mean. Where it's just like, you know, I'm like, oh, that's me. There's a part of me that's her. That's, you know, and wanting to just, you know, I don't know. And I think what was really exciting too about that role was just like back in like the 80s or the 90s, which I love that decade, and and well, I'm trying to like not. I'm choosing my words. And I'm trying to not give anything away, so it's
it's really tough. Yeah, because this movie has a lot of twists and turns to it. Everybody,
tricky. So, yeah, like I look for things that I know that I can expand, or I can use like a part of like my real life experience in that, and that feels like really exciting, and you know, where I feel like nervous and I'm like, okay, it's going to take a lot of courage, but like, I know I can do this and like really push myself, I think is, you know, what excites me about, you know, taking on a character.
Are you doing, I think I saw the last thing you were doing, you were talking about, you know, how much you have fun on a particular set. Were you doing like a mother role for that? Was that, are you getting those kind of roles right now? Like motherly roles and things like that?
My first one. Yeah. Oh no. You know, I think for a pilot, I was a young mom. I want to say like 8 years ago. But other than that, I think this last short film I did called Voicemails, I was a mom for that, which felt really cool to play. So that's kind of like the first. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so it's the first. So we'll see.
I mean, again, you know, as judgmentalness goes with Hollywood and what you're doing and who you are, that could be a difficult transition for a lot of people. But it seems like more and more that doesn't exist. That line is kind of blurring a lot more.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. And I'm so grateful for that. I feel like there's like things are definitely shifting. And that's really exciting. And it almost feels like even more exciting to age and to get older. Like I cannot wait to play like the cranky old lady that's like, you know, swearing at her. Like I really can't. And I mean that, you know, like, you know, when the time comes, like I really am excited to see what the age and experience and the roles that will they bring to me, hopefully, knock on wood.
And it's not one role either anymore. Like, you know, I mean, you get to the Diane Keaton level of those kind of things. Yeah, she played a lot of grandmothers and mothers and things of that nature, but she also played like rediscovering her youth films and films where she could just have a lot of fun on set with like Jane Fonda and those and other ladies like that, right? Kind of those films. And those films were very successful because we're not one thing. We're not dimensional like that, right? And I think that's where it's starting to turn. And also, I'm gonna pat myself on the back here a little bit, but independent film is also the reason for that as well, because I think independent film doesn't have boundaries and doesn't have things where it has to stay within a box anymore. You can go outside of a box, and I think that has been helpful for actors as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thanks, indie filmmakers. I love you.
But yeah, I know you wouldn't turn down a studio offer if you got one, but which would that'd just be silly. No. But and plus that's an experience that I think everybody has to have anyway, right? I think you have to have both sides because you just don't know, right? But but I do think it's almost like being an actor in New York on a stage play. There's the Broadway actors, and then there's the off-Broadway actors, right? That's the kind of grouping that you kind of get lumped into. You could do Broadway, and if you're Broadway, you could do off-Broadway. If you're off-Broadway, you're trying to aim for Broadway, but not always do you get there, so you just stay in off-Broadway kind of idea. But would you be happy if you were just within the indie sphere for the time being, or are you looking at that next thing? I want it to be bigger and bigger every time I do it.
I think there's a little bit of both. I think we all as actors, like we want to, we dream to be in a studio film. It'd be a dream to be in a Marvel, superhero film like that. That's amazing. But I think also now, like, there's a lot of indie films that are big productions. So I think all of it I embrace. I'd be happy and very grateful to be in any of these spaces, even off Broadway. Like I've seen so many incredible off Broadway shows that to me, I'd be so happy just doing off Broadway for the rest of my life.
And they're starting to get the recognition they deserve at the Tonys too, which is really nice.
Yeah,
it used to be just all Broadway stuff. Off Broadway used to be the wicked stepchild of New York, right? So,
I know. I'm really glad for all this shifting.
Yeah. I mean, for all the crap that's going on in our world right now, and the universe being on tilt like it is right now, I feel like metaphysically and spiritually, we're in a spot like we've never been in. I think that is starting to leak over into the arts a lot more than it isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's I think like we, even as human beings, we are can really feel the energy whether we realize it or not. And like the grief and the cruelty and just the things that are happening in our world that are so devastating. And I think a lot of we're all feeling it whether we realize it or not on a subconscious level. And maybe a lot of people are consciously taking it in as well, but like using it then for art, or using it to make work and to create and to raise awareness and empathy for other people that are different from ourselves, and showing other stories from all around the world that we wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. I think it's just so important. Yeah, it makes me a little emotional.
Sorry.
No, not at all. It's just, it's important, you know? So I'm just like, people keep creating, right? Like keep connecting and yeah, showing these stories.
I'm curious, you know, you are probably someone, because you are an incredible actor. You're probably someone who puts a lot of you into what you go, even if it's not you, you put a lot, you give the character a lot of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious though what the characters give you back. What are you left with at the end of the day when you're done with these characters? Like what did Lisa give you that you didn't have going into it?
My goodness. Well, a better understanding of my own, you know, mental health issues. A better understanding of my boundaries and the ways that in which I need to care for myself as a person, as an actor, and gosh, she was just so lovely and kind and caring and just compassionate. And so I think I tried. I mean, I like to think that I'm a little bit of those things too in my real life, but I think also like just the love that I had for her, and the love that I had for, you know, everyone on that set too. I took that with me, and it's always all of these experiences are always going to stay with me. And just the gratitude of being able to be her, even for that brief moment, you know, was just really, really special.
It's really easy to take with you something positive from every experience, but when you're in these negative lights, when you're in these darker spaces, are there some residuals to that you don't always welcome that come with you at the end of it? And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, for sure. Yes. There's always some residual, sometimes a lot of residual that I'm like taking with me. And it feels so icky and
Yeah.
it could feel so painful and like this kind of dark looming presence, I don't know, within me or around me, just kind of just following me around. And, you know, I cry a lot. I think I cry every time I'm done, no matter what my role is, like, because of just, there's so many things going on. And with not only just like, like going to maybe really dark either memories of my own life or dark parts of me that I didn't necessarily want to go to, but did. There's so many things that I'm experiencing and it can be really overwhelming. It's like the gratitude and love and the appreciation I have for being able to be this character, to work with all these incredible people, to be on set it's like such a gift. So it's like a joyful crying that happens. I think when I left the set of Rent-A-Pal, like on the plane, I just cried because it was just such a great release too, because it's like, you know, there's so much and it's so fast and it's like all of a sudden it's over, you know, and it's like I don't want it to end ever. But then there's also those parts of me that like need tending to that are hurting, right? It's like now I have this like gaping wide like wound that I need to kind of just like, you know, give myself a hug. And so there's like, it's like a lot for me that I'm kind of like taking away, and it's painful, it's joyful, it's all of it. And I think crying for me is obviously like the way that I sort of kind of purge and express and am able to get that out. I also can, you know, now I do so many self-regulation, like I do tapping, emotional freedom technique, I do breath work, I do, you know, nervous system regulations through somatic work. So it's easier for me to like come out. Journaling has been like so helpful for me to like sort of come out, just to like do a mental dump. But now I'm feeling more of like, it's like kind of like gets a little stuck in my body sometimes. So I have to do more like physical stuff, like shaking it out or like the tapping or,
there's a famous story about Jim Carrey. I don't know if you know this story or not, but he when he got the role to play Andy Kaufman, he sent a tape in where he embodied Andy Kaufman, and from that point forward, they were like blown away that he was so into it. Right? He gets on set, and he insisted that everybody call him Andy. He like lived Andy Kaufman's life in that aspect, right? And a lot of people were saying it was more of the Tony Clifton aspect of the Andy Kaufman transformation for him that he was struggling with, but he couldn't turn it off. And it took him, and he didn't know how to get himself. And here's a guy who does transcendental meditation, and I mean, even before he knew Andy Kaufman does that, he was doing those things. He's always been kind of a higher spiritual guy, and yet he got so trapped in this character and this person. Like he's talked about it since, that he really felt possessed by Andy Kaufman at that moment, right? Like Andy was living inside of him, and so he did the only thing an actor could do, and that was to be Andy Kaufman, but be Andy Kaufman as another character, and that's kind of what Tony Clifton was for Andy Kaufman, but not Tony Clifton, but he reinvented himself as another character, and then he was able to work himself backwards and get out of all of that from doing that, and that is crazy to me. And from that moment on, from whenever I hear that story, or when I heard that story, I look at actors so differently now because of that, because you carry so much of that. People don't realize how deep you can go with this, you know, and how it can absorb you and create that. You know, it can really create personality separation in a lot of respects if you're really deep into a role. And I got to imagine on the stage, it's probably even harder to get out of a character sometimes, because you play that character so often. You know, you're rehearsing every day, and then you're doing 6 shows a week, you know, kind of idea, and you're doing the same character over, and especially for someone who has to be on stage for the entire time, you have to be that character for the entire time. So that I have so much just respect for that and envy, because that's incredible. That, you know, that's gotta be, oh man, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm getting anxiety just talking, like thinking about it. I think that's where like you have to reach out for help. Like I think in those cases for me, I mean, and again, I can only speak for myself, but like to have a good support system is like critical. Like I've had incredible psychiatrists, I've had incredible therapists, I've learned incredible tools, and I don't think I would have survived. I know for a fact I wouldn't have been able to survive without them, especially with doing these roles. So I think in those cases, and I think like I've been luckily, like a lot of the darker things I've been doing lately have been short film, so they're more like 5-day shoots or So I mean, I can imagine doing like if you had to do something for like 3 months, that's a different story. And I haven't had that experience yet, but like, you know, I don't know how that would be, and that's a little scary to think about. But yeah, having a great support system, having people, you know, you can call, and you know, even if you need to go on like, you know, like a chat, like a mental health like chat, even can be really helpful. So like I've really like utilized these things.
I mean, something that struck me about all of that in that story is that he had so many people behind him who loved him and knew him and were watching him do this, and they just couldn't help him. They didn't know how to figure it out. He had to do it on his own. Do you feel like that sometimes as an actor, that you know, you probably have you have your partner, you have a great support system, you have people who are on set with you, who know you, who want to be there for you, you know, but is it really a personal thing that you have to go through? Do you have to basically do that alone?
That's a good question. I don't know this. I wish I knew the story that you were referring to. I get the gist of it, because, you know, you hear about a lot of actors, they go to this dark place and then they end up, you know, they have to take like a psychiatric, like mental health, like retreat.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they really need help. And I can see in some ways in my past where there were certain times where it almost does feel like there's something else taking over you, and not in a good way, in a very dark way. And that I can imagine that's really scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's really tricky because, you know, you can have a great support system, but then at the end of the day, it's like you have to do the work on yourself, you know. So that's also a thing too. But you know, I don't know too much about it to be able to speak so fully, I think, about it. But
do you where you're at now, do you pre-prep when you see a character that you know is going to take you to a dark place? Do you go, okay, I'm going to go to this place today, so I'm going to need X amount of meditation, or this? Is that something you're doing now?
Yeah, for sure. And like luckily I've worked with incredible directors who are now like my friends that I love very deeply, and they've all been very supportive of that. And I feel like they were all like especially like my last short film I did recently, Spam Risk. My the writer and director Alessa Carlino, she was like, you let me know what you need, and she like gave me like my own space to be able to prepare. She was always kind of just like making sure, you know, that I had what I needed to feel safe, and I did, and that meant a lot to me. And I feel like pretty much every single director I've ever had has been so lovely and wonderful in that way. So like I'll meditate, I'll start to kind of like go there, you know, and I know now kind of what I need too. Like I need some privacy. I need to listen to like maybe a certain song. I need that time and space, and also like learning that it's okay to take that time and space too has been like a big learning thing too. It's like, you know, it is like very much go, and you have to like, come on, like we're ready, like we're losing like daylight or whatever.
Right.
But I feel like I've been so blessed with the directors that are like, at least for those moments, like we're waiting on you.
Yeah.
You take your time. Whenever you're ready, you let us know. And that is such a beautiful gift, and I'm very grateful for that.
I used to love that, because then me and the camera guy could argue another hour about where he's placing the camera wrong. That's what I would do during that time period. No, we gotta shoot like this, Joe. Okay, all right, we'll shoot it like that for the first time, then we'll set it up this way and do it my way. Okay, we'll do that. You know, and they always turned out to be right. So just putting it out there now. Listen to your DP, everybody. All right.
Oh man, love a DP. Love you guys.
Well, Amy, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and to talk to me for this hour about your process and everything you're doing. Tell everybody where they can check out your healing stuff and your meditation stuff, so that people can go and seek you out, especially if they're in the LA area, because Amy hosts classes and does things like that. So real valuable stuff. So tell everybody a little bit about that and where they can find you.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. So you can find me at meditatewithamy.com. And you can sign up for my mailing list. Every week I do a lot of online stuff too. So things through Zoom. I teach all different kinds of techniques and traditions, meditation, self-regulation, somatic meditation. Yeah, sound baths. In person in LA, I'll teach at a lot of different libraries in the area too. So a lot of them are free, which is like really beautiful. So I do different sound baths all around. So you can reach out to me. Yeah, meditatewithamy.com. For acting, amyrutledge.net. You can also find me. I try to post a little bit of everything, like my meditation classes that are coming up, and also my acting work too. My Instagram is at amyrutledge443. So you can also find me there and reach out in that way too, if that's better.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We got another show coming up in about an hour or so. Vanessa Junta's going to join us, the channel to do her show, and then we got a lot of great programming all this week here on Go Indie Now. And thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back next week with another 21 grams. Until then, remember, that's always time to Go Indie Now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.